Thank you, Alberto. Buongiorno a tutti voi. Caro Rettore Bertini, dear Commissioner Moedas, Your Eminence, Excellencies, Ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen, professors, dear friends. Thank you cordially for the invitation. I'm glad, really glad to be here. This is not diplomatic floskula, but sincere greeting to this community. Thank you all for coming here to create this community. Since the first meeting, the very first meeting in the summer with Professor Meloni, I believed in this idea, and I think it's worthy to continue. Presence of Carlos Moedas and Stefano Manservisi from the European Commission, and I also joined in humbleness this team, and support of the European Parliament speaks very clearly about the support of the European Union to this networking for scientific cooperation in Europe around religions. I think this is for common good of people in Europe and in the world. This is not self-purpose. Why? Because we see very important contribution of all three dimensions of the European Academy of Religion. Academy, Religion, Europe. First, Academy. This city, probably better than many other, remembers how and why educational openness, engagement is so important for development. What it means. The oldest university on our continent is a living testimony about importance and impact of education. I had privilege to open one of the academic years of this oldest Bologna University in Europe in this very famous Aula Magna of Santa Lucia. We need to learn to live in diversity, and in diversity which is growing. It is clear that education is a key component for reconciliation and development. Access and quality of education should be our double objective, not only one. One is not enough because it leads either to elitism or the second one to egalitarianism. Better and more education is needed also in connection to migration crisis, to humanitarian aid, but also in prevention of radicalization and violent extremism. It concerns both the migrants and refugees, but also hosting populations. Education, as we all know, and I want to add from the educational point of view what Carlos Moedas already said, contributes to our employability and employment, social inclusion, social cohesion, to historical awareness and cultural creativity, but also to civil maturity for active citizenship, because integration is first of all participation on the basis of equality. We all need to learn how to live in diversity, instead of so-called clash of civilizations, to work for more civilization in our 21st century. Therefore, education on religions and cultures is a must. It's not possibility, it's a must for the 21st century. Ignorance, and especially religious ignorance or religious illiteracy, breeds intolerance. We have to overcome this by more intense and innovative educational cooperation. Therefore, I am really very glad that so many scholars and institutions are here from Europe, from Middle East, from Africa, from United States, China, and other parts of the world. And even more that you are ready and willing to work around religions and with religions. Second, religion. Who does not understand religion, and especially and including abuse of religion, he or she cannot understand what's going on in the world, what's happening in our world today. Overwhelming majority of the world population, over 80%, claim to be religious people. They claim religious affiliation. So it's not a phenomenon. This is a major issue at the time. And at the same time, religious minorities suffer from very oppressive discrimination or even persecution in many parts of our world. The most bloody is the one under dominance of militant organizations like Islamic State or Daesh, or Boko Haram, or Al-Nusra. Freedom of religion or belief is linked to freedom of thought and freedom of conscience. This is the deepest expression of human freedom and human dignity. These are essential values expressing our community, at least in the European Union. Freedom of religion or belief is a litmus test of other human rights. If this one is missing, civil and political rights are missing as well. I wish this academy would be a contributive institution or partner to creative interdisciplinarity, exchanges and mobility around religious studies. For example, religion and law, religion and economy, religion and society, religion and development, etc. Europe needs to be truly secular and respect religions, because secularism cannot replace religions. Such secularism means emptiness or brings new ideology. True secularism means openness, not emptiness, but openness, and fairness of state and public institutions towards religious communities. Respect means more than tolerance. Respect is a very fruitful base for dialogue and cooperation. And our ideal should be free state working in a constructive manner with free religious communities for common good. And the third part of the title of the network is Europe, European. This is old and small continent, but very influential in the world history and also in the world today. European heritage and European inventions like university, the very first one, this one in Bologna, theater, Olympic Games, international law or Jus Gentium, democracy, and many others became global phenomena. They have been embraced by many nations. But European wars and totalitarian regimes became also global, unfortunately. Global tragedies in the 20th century especially. At least within this scale, one can see European influence in the world today. In the last century, millions of people fled from Europe elsewhere for freedom and for better living. European countries, due to persecution, conflicts, and poverty, were not good homelands for citizens. Today, millions are coming to Europe. They are knocking on our doors for openness and help. Therefore, I am very glad that with the European Academy of Religion, we can learn and respond better to the needs of our times. Migration and refugee crisis can be turned into a new opportunity. Responsible responses will lead us to a better century than the previous one. I call the previous one century of genocides. There were many, and they confirm that we are weak or we abandon our commitments. Europe must stand up to its vocation to be not only a cradle of democracy, but also promoter and protector of democracy. This is our responsibility for the democracy. Europe has to be not only a biggest donor of development aid in the world, but credible leader of humanity and solidarity. To conclude, I want to say what is so dear to many of us. Clash of values, but hope that good prevail. Evil has three influential allies. It's indifference, ignorance, and fear. European Academy of Religion is precise and timely response and opponent to all of them. Your presence and commitment to work together are clear steps against indifference, ignorance, and fear. And from this point of view, I wish the Academy full success. Academy may become a great innovative instrument to promote peace and education and sustainable development. I wish all of you constructive and creative cooperation for the benefit of your institutions, Europe and its Mediterranean neighborhood especially, but also to the whole international community. Thank you. Grazie molti.